Imagine looking at a clock right now. You have exactly 6 minutes. What can you actually do in 6 short minutes?
Well, you could maybe drink half a cup of coffee.
Right. Or you could scroll through a few posts on your phone.
Yeah, or listen to maybe one or two songs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what if you could use those exact 6 minutes to drop your daily stress level by almost 70%?
Wow. I mean, that is a massive claim. Usually lowering your stress that fast requires, strong medicine
Oh,
or a really long vacation.
it does. But today's deep dive is actually about a kind of medicine, a completely free one.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah. And it has zero negative side effects. It will not make you dizzy or sleepy.
Uh,
And you definitely do not need a doctor to get it.
we all need something like that. I mean, think about how you feel after a really busy day.
Oh, your head just feels completely full.
Exactly. You feel heavy, like you are carrying all this complicated stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe you dealt with heavy traffic data all day
Yeah.
or complicated computer code.
Right. And you are just listening to this right now thinking, my brain is so tired.
Because we live in a very loud world. Our brains are always on, constantly processing new things.
Yes. So our mission today is to share this magic medicine with you. It is a simple everyday object, just picking up a book.
A book. It sounds too simple, doesn't it?
It really does. But the data we are looking at today is amazing. We are going to explore why a simple book is the ultimate reset button for your brain.
And just to be clear, we are not talking about reading a textbook
Mhm.
or a boring work report.
No. We are talking about reading for pleasure. Just a good story.
Right. So let's start with that 6-minute statistic you mentioned.
Yeah, the 68% reduction in stress.
That is such a specific number. How did the researchers actually figure that out?
Well, they did this really interesting study. They put people in stressful situations just to raise their heart rates.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, and then they tried different ways to calm these people down. Like, they played soft music.
It makes sense.
They gave them a warm cup of tea. They even had them take a quiet walk outside.
And reading a book worked better than all of those things.
Yes, reading a book worked the fastest and the best.
That is, well, it's really surprising. Because listening to music feels so easy. You just sit there.
Exactly.
But reading actually requires effort, right? You have to look at these black marks on a page and turn them into pictures in your head.
And that is actually my main problem with this whole idea. When I think about reading, it honestly sounds like work.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Because I read all day long. I read emails, I read the news, I read, text messages on my phone.
Right, your eyes are constantly working.
Yeah. So by the time I get home, trying to decode more words on a page sounds exhausting. I mean, why wouldn't that just give me more stress?
That is a really fair point. But it actually depends on how and why you read.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, reading a work report is like a hunt. You are scanning the page. You are looking for problems.
Oh, right. Like looking for a mistake.
Exactly. Your brain is on high alert. It treats the information almost like a threat.
So my brain is tense because I might miss an important detail for my job.
Right. But reading a novel, just for fun, is a completely different mental process. You are not hunting for facts anymore.
You are just following the story.
Yes, you follow a path that someone else built for you, and your brain enters this state that researchers call deep focus.
Deep focus. Okay, let's break that down. What is actually happening inside the body during deep focus?
Your body goes through a real physical shift. Think about your eyes.
Okay.
When you scroll on your phone or walk down a busy street, your eyes constantly jump around. They look for movement. They look for danger.
Yeah, always darting back and forth.
But when you stare at quiet text on a paper page,
Yeah.
your eyes stop jumping.
Oh, because they just lock on to the straight lines of words.
Exactly. And when your eyes stop jumping around, your brain gets a biological signal. The signal basically says, hey, there is no danger here. We can stay still.
Wow. So just keeping your eyes still forces the nervous system to calm down?
Yes, that's the first step. And then your heart rate actually physically slows down.
That is amazing.
Your breathing becomes deeper. The muscles in your neck and shoulders finally relax.
So it's basically the opposite of what we normally do to relax because, most of us just grab our phones after work.
Oh, absolutely.
We open an app, we watch a short, funny video, then we swipe. We watch another video.
Right.
It feels like relaxing because it's easy. We don't have to think.
But look at what your brain is doing behind the scenes. Every single time you swipe, your brain has to process a completely new world.
Oh, that's true. New faces, new music, new colors.
Exactly. It's like a bunch of tiny shocks to your system. You see a funny dog video, then a loud dance, Then maybe a sad news story?
So your brain is constantly jumping around and never gets to stay still.
Right. It has to figure out the rules of every new video in just 1 second. It is secretly very, very exhausting.
That makes the power of deep focus make so much sense. A book is just black text on white paper. The environment never changes.
Yes. The brain can finally stop jumping. It stops looking for threats.
It really acts like a reset button. You just follow one single thought for a long time.
But here is the interesting part. The brain is not just turning off.
Oh, what is it doing?
When the brain is in that quiet, focused state, it is actually doing some heavy lifting. The sources talk about building your knowledge reserve.
A knowledge reserve. Let's talk about that. What exactly is a knowledge reserve?
Well, I like to think of the human brain as a massive empty warehouse when we are born.
Okay, a big empty room.
Yeah. And as we live, we put things into this warehouse. We build shelves. We organize information. A knowledge reserve is simply your collection of all those files.
So every time you read a book, you put a new file on a shelf.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the sources make a really strong point here. We should not just read books about our own jobs.
Right. Like if you write computer code all day, reading another book about computer code won't build a great warehouse.
No, it builds a very narrow warehouse. All your files look exactly the same. The real magic happens when you read outside your normal field.
You want to feed your brain a balanced diet.
Yes, let's use that food comparison. Think about eating candy or potato chips.
They taste great.
They do.
Yeah.
And they give you a quick burst of energy. But they do not give your body the vitamins it needs to grow strong.
So reading angry internet comments or celebrity gossip is basically mental junk food.
Exactly. It fills the time, but it leaves your mind empty.
But a good book is like a well-cooked, healthy meal. It might take longer to digest, but it builds a stronger mind.
Right.
But how does that actually help us in real life? The sources give this really fascinating example about a traffic expert.
Oh, yes. I love this example. So imagine a person who manages city traffic. Their only job is moving cars smoothly from point A to point B.
Normally, that person only studies roads or traffic lights.
Right. But imagine this traffic expert decides to read a book about architecture.
Wait, architecture, like designing buildings?
Exactly. Designing indoor spaces.
Those two things do not seem connected at all. One is about fast cars on a street, and the other is about walls that never move.
But the architecture book explains how people walk through a large building. It talks about how to stop crowds from getting stuck in narrow hallways.
Oh, and the traffic expert reads this and realizes it is the same problem.
Yes. They take a rule about indoor hallways, and they use it to fix an outdoor highway.
That is brilliant. It's called cross-disciplinary thinking, right?
Yes. Taking an idea from one field and using it to solve a problem in a completely different field.
And if that expert only read traffic books, they would never find that answer. It was hiding in a totally different part of their mental warehouse.
Exactly. The more diverse files you have in your head, the more your brain can connect the dots. You stop thinking like everyone else at your job.
So building this massive mental library is great for work. But it goes way beyond just careers. People always say a book is a passport for the mind.
It's a great phrase. It means you can travel without ever walking out your front door.
But I want to know how that mental travel actually works. Because it's not just imagining a warm beach in Brazil or, a stone street in ancient Rome.
Right.
What happens in the brain when we read about a different place?
It is actually a biological process. When you read a story, your brain does not just watch the action from far away. It actually simulates the action.
Simulates it? You mean like a pilot in a flight simulator?
Very similar. Have you ever read a description of someone eating a really sour lemon and your mouth actually starts to water?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Your brain reacts to the words like they are real. If you read about someone running through a dark forest, the parts of your brain that control physical running actually light up.
Wow. So the brain is basically practicing the action.
Yes. And it does the exact same thing with emotions. If you read about a character feeling deep sadness, the emotional centers in your brain respond. You don't just understand their feelings. You practice feeling them.
This is how we build empathy.
Exactly. Empathy is just sharing another person's feelings.
It is so easy to judge someone when you look at them from the outside. But a book puts you right inside their head. You see the world through their eyes.
And that makes your own world much bigger.
This brings up a huge point for you listening today, because many of you are working really hard right now to learn English.
That's right.
You study grammar rules, you memorize vocabulary. It takes so much effort. How does reading novels help with learning English?
Well, Studying rules is important. But if you only use rules, the language just feels like a giant math problem.
Yeah, like you are trying to plug the right word into an equation. It feels stiff.
But reading an English novel is totally different. You are not studying the language anymore. You are living inside it.
You see how native speakers actually view the world. You see how they talk when they are angry, or how they joke with a friend.
You absorb the natural rhythm. Like, let's say you want to learn the English word devastated.
Okay.
A textbook will just say it means very sad.
Right.
But a story shows a man losing his dog in the rain. He falls to his knees. He is devastated.
Oh, wow. You feel the rain and the loss.
Exactly. The word isn't just a flashcard anymore. It is a strong emotional memory. And because it is connected to an emotion, it sticks in your brain much longer.
That is so much better than just studying grammar.
It really is.
Okay, so we know reading is amazing. It calms you down, builds a mental warehouse, and helps you learn a language. But we have to ask, does the way we read matter?
Oh, you mean the digital detox debate?
Yes, screens versus paper. And I want to be fair here. E-readers are great. Like, if you ride a crowded subway to work, you don't want to carry a big, heavy book.
No, of course not. An e-reader is so convenient.
Yeah, but I am going to defend physical paper books because when we read on a phone or smart device, there is a big problem, the notifications.
Yes, the constant threat of a beep.
Picture this. You are reading a great chapter. Your heart rate is slow. You are relaxed, walking through ancient Rome in your mind.
Sounds perfect.
And then your phone vibrates. Pip, new email from your boss.
The spell breaks instantly. Your brain is ripped right out of the story.
And your heart rate goes up again. Those 6 minutes of relaxation are totally ruined.
That is the danger of the screen. Even if your phone is on silent, part of your brain is still secretly waiting for a message.
Right. It never fully relaxes. But a paper book is a closed system. It has no internet. It will never ask you to update its software.
It forces a true digital detox.
Exactly.
A detox means clearing out bad things from your body. A digital detox clears out all the noisy technology from your mind.
Plus, a paper book just feels nice. It has a smell. You feel the pages turning.
Yes, but let's be realistic. Sometimes a screen is all someone has.
That's true. So if you have to read on a screen, how do you protect your focus?
The media matters less than the method. You just need 20 minutes of pure attention, no interruptions.
How do you do that?
Turn on airplane mode. Turn off the TV. Just you and words.
Just you and the words. I love that. So let's wrap this up. Reading is basically a lifelong friend that never leaves you.
It really is. It reduces your stress, builds your mental library, and acts as a passport.
And we have a task for you, the listener, to do after this deep dive. We want you to think of your answers in English to 2 questions.
Question 1. What is one book that changed your mind?
For example, the sources mention a book called Sapiens. It helps you understand human history in a completely new way. It adds a major new file to your mental warehouse.
So think about a book that changed your perspective. And question 2. What is one book that made you happy?
A great example is The Little Prince. It reminds adults to stay curious. So think about a book that brought you pure joy.
Answering these helps you see how much knowledge you already have in your head.
And want to leave you with one final thought today. We spend so much time struggling with big problems. Work stress, life stress.
Yes, constantly.
But somewhere out there, a brilliant person spent 10 years of their life solving your exact problem. And they put all their answers into a stack of paper.
They distilled a decade of wisdom into just a few hundred pages.
Exactly. If just 6 minutes of looking at words can slow your heart rate and one book can change how you see the world, what new file will you choose for your mental library tonight?
It is entirely up to you.
Open a book and open your world.